Greetings, Sheeple of Storm Connect listeners. You got your red hot host, Edo Ninja, and you have my co-host, Crunch.
Hello, hello.
And this is our final episode of Storm Connect. I have no idea if you guys have been living under a rock, but yes, this is our final episode. And to clarify this, just in case if there's any confusion, when we say final episode, this is the final episode of the Storm Connect service. We just want to say thank you so much for your guys' support of the couple years that we've been doing this. Honestly, we did not expect to get this far into the podcasting business to begin with. That was a huge surprise. Especially the fact that, I technically have started from zero all over again after dropping YouTube, and here we are. Then I added Crunch into the equation of this, and now it's coming to an end of it. Why? I'm gonna get a little bit further into it, but all I gotta say is that this is the end, and we're just kind of going a little bit wild with this podcast episode. There is nothing that you guys can actually expect, because this is just the final episode. So whatever happens.
Yep.
That's literally what this episode is. So, but I just wanted to give that little bit of a quick thank you. I'm gonna say it again at the end of this episode, but you already know the rest to it. But let's just say that the limiters are released, and well, we're here now, and we're just gonna say whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Probably the most informal podcast episode we're gonna have. It will be the same format. We still have our topics that we'll be talking about. We still have some final thoughts. We definitely have an order of topics that we want to talk about as well. I think there were some things, especially from our last episode, which I think was the Sora episode, right?
Yeah, the heartfelt smash dream.
Yeah, so just to kind of give a broad sense of what we're going to be doing today, we'll be talking about Sora, we'll be talking about the Game Awards. Edo will have his thoughts on the Game Awards as well as my own. We're going to be talking about No Way Home, because as of this recording, we are 2 to 3 days away from that movie being officially released to the public. We'll be shouting out some people for various reasons, and then we'll be concluding. But before I want to get into it, I really wanted to thank you guys for getting some of that merch that Edo had created for our show. For those that did buy and support the show, we thank you very, very much. Like Edo said, I actually did not even expect for this to take off, let alone co-host the show. So the fact that we even made it this far throughout the 2 years or a little over 2 years that we've been doing this for, it's pretty insane that this has been going on for so long. And for that, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been listening for this long, from Edo's community to my community to people that found us just originally from the podcast. I think that's really sick, and I've been able to add this under my resume of things that I've done before. So yeah, thanks to everyone just supporting us and letting us do our thing. I think that's really cool.
I'm very happy to say all this, but we'll get more into details as to the many questions some people may have had, and I know it's been about a couple weeks since we made our statement, but again, there'll be more that's gonna be said on that though. But rest assured, right now, let's just chillax and everything, and I just want to get started as to why Sora will never be better than Joker, and I'm so glad that it's been proven. It's been proven already time after time. No matter what this character does, he can be the best in this area. He can be the best in that area, but he will never, ever beat Arsene, and that is the correct timeline. Y'all tried it. You all tried it. Anyways.
Oh my god.
I just had to let that out. Oh god, that was relieving. Look, I mean, I'm already over the fact that the character is in the game and stuff like that. And of course, I had some very interesting comments left and right of it, which, I mean, again, y'all don't know where I came from this, so, I mean, unfortunate for you. Not really for me. I mean, because again, I don't care anymore. Because now my objective is that I'm gonna, like, give all of my power against every single Sora that I face online. If I see that fucker, no, I'm not going Robin. I'm not going with any other characters. It's Joker. No, because this motherfucker was the first character to be introduced. Sora was the last character to be introduced. But here's the thing. Joker stole the show. Sora did not. He just came out of nowhere, which is like, that's cute. That's beautiful and stuff like that. No, he did not. He did not steal the show. The motherfucker was not revealed at Game Awards. He was just like, oh, here's a presentation, and there you go. Joker, no one expected. You could say Sora was not expected. I mean, we could say that. But nobody expected for the Game Awards to just go red all of a sudden, and then just Joker goes like, oh yeah, we're stealing the treasure of our invitation to Smash. Anyways.
Yeah, you know what? In the great words of a other podcast that I work with at Tweak Talks, as the hosts have been saying, I'll give it up, right? I'll give it up. I think that your take on that is pretty accurate. Like, I really did not expect Joker, especially that the way that they did it kind of set the expectation for when Smash players watch a Game Awards show, because I think from my memory, I think only 2 characters now were revealed on the game show, that being, funny enough, 2 Square Enix reps. Or not Square Enix, I apologize. 1 Atlas, 1 Square Enix. But Joker we got, and then Sephiroth we got. And both had some pretty dope trailers. And who?
No. I was saying, I'm like, and they're obviously the best ones, but anyways.
Oh, right, yeah. Like, okay, so it's funny because I think by far the best Smash trailer of all time now, and this could be kind of I wouldn't say a controversial opinion, but I think it's something that people can debate over, is Sephiroth. I still watch his trailer to this day, and granted, I don't really play Smash as much anymore like I used to. I'm not really as involved in the competitive scene, and granted, I do edit for Tweaks still. I do stuff with Riddles and Smash University, but I don't really play the game as much anymore. But when I do play the game, I play Sora, Sephiroth, Falcon, and occasionally I will go back to that Sephiroth trailer, because I just think that is one of the most well done, heartfelt trailers. Or not even heartfelt, like just that's actually the complete opposite now that I'm thinking about it. Like, one of the darkest trailers. Like, this dude just came up, brought darkness to Smash, and just literally obliterated like a majority of the cast and almost killed Mario. Like, almost penetrated Mario.
I will never get over the fact that Nintendo actually allowed that. There's just obviously, like, we didn't see him die, but like the frame of it before that, like,
yeah, like
Nintendo would just be like, no.
Like, the audacity to even try and kill Nintendo's mascot is insane, especially in a Nintendo presentation. So for that, I'll give it up. But it's kind of interesting because I was going to do a podcast episode before things went kind of weird on Sora's, not reveal, but just his place in the meta and when I think of him as a character. I'm kind of glad I didn't give my review a week after, because I think I was still so starstruck at the fact that he got in. And even to this day, I am too. Like, I will go back to his reveal and watch that first bit just because, like, that moment was so insane, just watching the Keyblade like whirling around in that fire and then it getting revealed that Sora got in. Like, I do think that is really crazy. I don't think it's the best trailer though, because if they wanted to go for something more Kingdom Hearts specific, they could have done so much more. Like, they could have done the spirits as the Heartless, like, kind of roaming around, and all the characters were like struggling to face them, and then Sora comes out and, you know, shines the light on them or some corny shit like that. But for me, I was just more so hyped that Sora got in, and I think my thoughts on him right now, I think he's pretty good. I do think he might take a little more time to kind of get, what's the word I want to look for? I think it will take him a little more time to get into the meta and kind of fully come out as his true potential. Because I think as of now, there's a lot of things that still need to get optimized, like with his combos and whatnot. And I think people are finally starting to get around his floatiness, as I am. And he feels really good, man. Like, I really do like playing as Sora, and he might be one of my favorite characters to play in the game right now. But I'm not exactly sure, like, how good he is. Because clearly, as we can tell, he's no Joker, he's no Pikachu, he's not even a Pyra/Mythra at this point, because that's who I consider the top 3 characters. But rest assured, I do think he is at least top 15. And that's me being generous, because I do think he could slide a little bit to top 20, but I think the fact that he's even in the top 15 range is still pretty impressive considering first impressions. Because if you look at him, he's a pretty basic character. Like, he kind of just has his sword, he's flinging it around, he's very, very floaty, and then his combos they kind of remind me a little bit of Bayonetta, but not in the sense of having like these broken infinite like lab-esque combos. Like, because in Bayonetta games, you can go fucking crazy and like do some like 100 hit combo shit, but like obviously that's toned down for Smash, but it still feels like in Smash 4 game breaking. But for this, I think Sora is perfectly balanced. Like, I didn't want him to be super good, I didn't want him to be super bad, I just wanted him to be good enough that he could be played in bracket, or like people could pick up the character and, you know, get some work done with him. Like, obviously he's not going to beat characters like Joker or Pikachu, but he will be somewhat of a nice character to see. And so far from tournament results, we've seen some recognition from Zachary. He actually won a tournament, I think, like within the week of Sora getting released in Japan. I forgot what the tournament name was, but it was like the 5th in the series, and he beat Shuton, and I think T was there. I'm not entirely sure what the bracket run was exactly, but I know he beat some pretty high names up there. And if we're going to talk about what are the strongest regions in Smash, I think Japan is the second, with America being first, just because, you know, like we pretty much host the top of the line tournaments here for the most part. Like, there's a reason why people travel to the States. I wish it were the other way around, where we could travel to other places too, but it is what it is, especially during a pandemic world. But yeah, I would call him a high tier at the lowest for sure. I don't think he is anywhere mid tier. I think the tools that he has are really good. I think he is by far the best edge guarder in the game, no question. I don't know about recovery. I do think he is. I think he still has the best recovery, but I think, like, I've seen a lot of people capitalize on his floatiness pretty hard, but I think he is incredible at stalling off stage. Like, sometimes it will flat out take people like 10 seconds to 15 seconds to get back to stage, just because they're throwing out, you know, a series of magic spells that continue to have some sort of float or momentum to them before he starts to like sink as he's using the moves. But he has a variety of ways to get back to stage. He's a really solid character. He's got like a pretty good neutral. I love how you're able to change between his different spells, and you get to set up for cool edge guards. Like, you can use the Fire-Aga spam to sort of get him off stage, and then once they're off stage, go for the Thundaga and do stuff like that. And he's a pretty strong character too. He's deceptively strong. He may be floaty, but he kind of reminds me of the strength and brute that like Sephiroth has, despite his floatiness. Or not floatiness, but just lightness in general, which I thought was pretty cool. I think that's kind of like the classic, not the classic Square Enix feel, but I don't know, I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but they're pretty similar in that regard. And I think Sora is a really cool character, and I'm really glad he got in this game. But with that being said, I mean, when you add a character like Sora, I really do hope it's going to be a long time until we get like a Smash 6. I hope it's not like a Smash 4 again, where, you know, the game ends in like 2014, 2015, and then 3 years later we have another Smash game. Like, I hope this game lasts like 5 to 10 years. I think there's just so much content, and I don't think this meta has fully developed yet to the point where we can finally call it and be like, okay, these were all of our top tiers, these were all of our good characters, good players. Like, I think this game has a bigger story to tell for its future tournaments and the game itself too. So those are my condensed thoughts on Sora, especially like trying to pick them back up from when I last played Smash. But he is definitely one of my favorite additions. I think he's very fun to use.
So I want to squeeze this in here real quick.
Go for it.
For Joker mains, just to give you a little nice tip of going against a Sora, just use your guns. Just use your guns. Sora players will hate guns like it's nobody's fucking business. I can promise you that for a lifetime. Everybody hates Joker's guns to begin with, though, but it is so bad against Sora.
Yeah, that thing is broken
in terms of Sora face. Yeah, like Sora cannot beat those guns, and especially if there's Arsene. Let me give you a tip. Sonic Blade. Just gun that motherfucker. You just only do one button. Sometimes you can spam if you want to, and it's so fucking funny because people will still keep trying to do the Sonic Blade, and it's hilarious. And if you have Arsene, make sure he's at high percentage. Gun that motherfucker one more time. Don't spin those guns. Make sure he's out of the stage, and all you have to do is forward air. The end. GG. That's all you have to do. That's all you can do to beat Sora. It's just using those guns. And it's so fun because I can make a compilation out of it. I mean, I did so many times of it. It's just like, damn, this motherfucker, like, they're not kidding that he's really floaty in terms of, like, you know, he can get launched easily, which I think, in my opinion, they kind of overhyped it a little bit because they said that he's lighter than Isabelle, which I was just like, okay, because Isabelle, that bitch could die really easily. Sora can still live for a while, no matter how many times I launch him off, though. But that's why I'm giving you guys this tip. If you guys are a Joker main, use your guns. I promise you, use your guns, because those motherfuckers will keep spamming Sonic Blade, and make sure you guys are comboed into the air. It's really efficient to when you're using it in on the ground. The air, it's a bit tricky, but if you know what you're doing, it definitely helps a lot. But I don't recommend you spin your guns with Sora, especially when you're out of the stage. You can do that for some characters, of course, but definitely do not do that with Sora, because otherwise he can triumph and he can actually kill you easily. So, yeah, there's your nice tip there. Second of all, my thoughts on Sora. I did play him, which I wanted to comment on this because I had a lot of people up in my Twitter. I said... Yeah, I had people up on my fucking business, and I'm just like, bitch, hold the fuck up. Well, I'm not saying all that. All I said was that I was playing Sora in Smash, and I had some people there going like, Edo, huh? What was that? And I'm just like, motherfucker, I just needed to test him out. I have to play the character so I know what the fuck I'm facing against. Potentials. That's all I'm saying. All I'm admitting is that he's a good character. I'm not saying that he's gonna be my main. I literally had to, like, calm down Twitter on that. Like, y'all think I'm fucking bending forward for this character? No! There's the better one right there in red. Joker from Persona 5. I'm so, like, y'all really thought I was gonna say some shit like that on Twitter? No. But yeah, no, I just want to get that clarification because I can't believe, like, I had people, like, I think I had 20 likes on that tweet, and I'm like, hey, yo, what the fuck? Where y'all coming from with this shit? And because everyone's just like, oh my god, yes, Sora is amazing. You're correct, Adam. No, no. Like, sure, he's good, but no, there's better. There is better. I'll just choose the better one. You can choose whatever you like. It's just, I'm sorry that you're gonna be wrong because Joker's right there. But anyways, but yeah, no. Would I consider remaining Sora? No. Why? My issue with him is because of his floatiness. I did get around to it though. It's just not my play style because I'm very fast onto my gameplay, and I'm not really feeling of how my matchup speed with Sora. So that's why, like, you know, especially with Joker, I mean, again, say what you will, like, he's kind of brain dead to play once you have Arsene, which that is true. I just like to be very stylish, especially for, like, the guns and the infinite combo that you could do with him to a certain extent. But yeah, no, he's a very solid character, which I definitely could see him in brackets, of course, consistently. But like I said, for me personally, use him. I definitely would not. And plus, I do hate the magic cycling. Not a huge fan of that either. But other than that, like, I mean, again, I'll give it credit to where it's due. I mean, I'm not, like, just because I'm not a fan of the series and the character does not mean, like, you know, I had to discredit everything. He's really good, and like, you know, he does pack a ridiculous amount of power, which I kind of was not expecting. I thought that was gonna come from magic. No, it actually comes from the fucking Keyblade itself, which is a little bit frightening. But I'm just kind of glad that where he's at is where he should stay at. I actually don't think he needs any other type of adjustments. I saw some people said that he does need adjustments. If anything, I do think there should, like, the magic should be toned down a little bit in terms of, like, you know, cycling like 80,000 fucking times. I saw that there's people saying that there should be a cooldown to it. To an extent, I could agree with that. But it's not horrible if you know what you're doing, which it's really hard because Sora, especially to like how great he is when it comes to aerial gameplay, he has various amount of mix-up, and he can still come back to the stage no matter what. So that's why I'm not like really complaining too much about it. So I will give him credit the fact that he's a well-designed character. But other than that, I will take pleasure as to showing who the fuck is boss with my character, and I don't have a problem. There's literally no problem of it. But yeah, no, all I'm gonna say, I said it again. I said it before in the last podcast, and I'll say it again. If I see you in the arena, do not expect for me to go easy on you. If I see that fucking big shoot, fucking spiky motherfucker head ass, fucking big key shape trying to pretend it's a sword, no. No. I got a gun. My gun go pew pew, and then you go bye bye. But yeah, that's all I really had to say about with Sora. Oh yeah, one thing that I also want to say, as well. I'm so sorry for anyone that's going to be purchasing Kingdom Hearts games for the 80,000th time onto the Nintendo Switch. Like, look, do what you want. Like, I'm not saying it's entirely a bad thing, but like, all I'm gonna say is that if you're gonna pay the Kingdom Hearts game when it's a cloud version, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. Cause here's the thing, I do agree with the community that, you know, bringing the Kingdom Hearts games, it actually would be really cool onto the Switch. I never was against the idea. What I am against the idea is the cloud version, because guess what? Like, you will have to rely on internet connection if you're not, like, you know, if you're not home and you want to play Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that. Like a lot of people literally have this memed for many years that I can imagine. Well, it would be nice to play Kingdom Hearts, you know, on the go and such. And, you know, now it could technically be a reality, but through internet connection. And it's just like, what the fuck is the point of it? And plus, it's the Nintendo Switch. In terms of, like, internet capability and such and how the Nintendo service online is, good luck with that. I did hear, however, that there might be a potential, an actual proper port to it sometime in the future. I think this is just for now as to what I heard. I hope they would do that. Cause it just feels weird, the fact that, like, they have, like, a whole, like, as game Melody of Memory onto the Switch and not with the other Kingdom Hearts games, that they have to be available in the cloud version. And I do understand the fact that it's gonna take a lot of time, because that is 10 games. A lot of fucking games. 3 of them are movies, so exclude them out though. But that is a lot of movies that they have to fucking export and fucking, export onto the fucking Nintendo Switch and do a lot of modifications to it. And, well, again, good luck with the frame drops for 2.8 and Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm still impressed. The fact those 2 games are going to be on the Switch, because, like, if it doesn't crash, well then, fuck. I'm sure they must have compressed the fuck out of it and toned down a lot of the graphics. And if I see the same amount of particles and, like, you know, great a deal of, like, magic and fire and all that shit, if I see, like, the same amount to when you're doing spells and everything, and if that shit is not crashing, I don't know what black magic they used. I literally am going to be sitting here confused and question how the fuck did they do it. I need to know. I'm no game developer. I need to be educated on that. Cause, like, here's the thing. If Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Chain of Memories, 358 over 2 days, Birth by Sleep, any of the games I was using the Luminous engine, if that was not the cloud version, but 0.2 and 3 was cloud version, to an extent, I know that sounds shitty, but I can see why they did that. In a sense, that would make sense. But But that's not the case here. That's not exactly what we're talking about. So there's a lot of things that can be considered and go back and forth all day with it though. But like all I'm gonna say is that if you're spending money on it on the cloud version, well damn bitch, you must be down bad that for the series. Holy fuck. I mean, you could criticize me all you want for Persona 5 though, but goodness gracious. For all the games onto the Switch once again. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, all I have to say about the cloud version is if you buy it, you are wasting money. I just think that I never even had faith in that game running well to begin with, even if you didn't do a cloud version. So the fact that they are doing a cloud version, and there have been numerous rumors and other speculation going around that they weren't even going to bring it to begin with, is shocking. But I will say, like, when I saw that in the direct that they were like, oh, and we can also say that Kingdom Hearts will be coming to the Switch, I was like, oh, what? And then they said cloud version. I was like, oh, never mind. Like, my opinion on it, or not even my opinion, but my excitement just got completely toned down from that, because I'm thinking to myself, like, there is literally no way you're bringing this game over and it's going to be fleshed out. This is going to be just a huge mess. And I'm okay with that because I don't know, bro. I personally think these type of games are just best suited for PC and like PlayStation, especially just playing them on their original consoles. Like I think the button mapping on the Switch is going to be kind of wacky a little bit, and I just don't expect it to run well either, especially if it's on cloud version. Like there might be some potential lag behind that too. So I'll just stick with my PlayStation version, and you know, maybe I'll try it on PC one day if I'm feeling up to it, but for now I just like it on my PlayStation. But
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that I also want to say. Like, damn motherfuckers, y'all are buying the same game again for the many ports, and I'm not saying I'm any better because technically I had went from the PS3 to the PS4. I'm not saying all that though. The PC, I can definitely understand. The Switch, I can understand, just not the circumstances that it came with at the moment. But good god damn, that is a lot of games that you guys are buying. That's more than $100. Oh my goodness. But all I'm gonna say is that, yeah, save your money. But if you see me touching that game, I'm gonna tell you there's only one purpose as to why I'm touching it.
You're bored as hell.
Mods. No.
The mods
on PC.
Yes.
The mods on PC, because the mods on PC for Kingdom Hearts 3 and what everyone is able to do with it, it's more insane than I originally imagined. And there is this Vanitas mod.
No, the community literally fixes the game.
Yeah, they fixed the fucking game. Like at that point, like I don't care for the story at this point. Like the game, when it comes to the combos and such, is so fucking beautiful and so satisfying. So if y'all see me play that game, it's 90% is gonna be for the mods, and I'm only here for the Vanitas mods. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. But
that's the only reason why. Other than that, you're not gonna see me touch the game for God knows for a long time, maybe for the rest of my life. I have no fucking idea. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. On that note, though, bro, we gotta transition to Game Awards, because oh man.
Oh boy. Okay, well, you know what? Talk your talk. I'm gonna let you talk.
Alright, I'm gonna talk my talk and say that was the worst shit I've ever fucking watched. Oh my god. Look, I think there's a lot of people that would disagree with me, because I think there definitely are some pretty bad Game Awards, but that was, I don't know what it was. I was watching this with a friend, and I'm like, this is the worst one I have watched, period. Like, I don't even remember anything significant getting revealed except for, like, shit that literally wasn't video games. Like, the only game that I genuinely remember from that presentation was Sonic Frontiers, which, as someone that is not a Sonic fan, that game looks really sick. And I am praying, hands and knees, I am praying that game does not fall into the same fate that Forces did, because Forces as well looked really cool and ended up being very, very, very bad. So I am praying that game looks good. But in terms of, like, you know, the Sonic 2 movie trailer and whatever else was shown, bro, that Sonic movie looks fucking good. I'm not gonna lie, these sets of movies are, I think, right now, probably some of my favorite video game adaptation movies of all time. Like, I really am so happy that the community fought for Sonic's design, because if you clearly remember that atrocity that we were about to get until Twitter blew up and was like, what are you doing? We don't want humanoid Sonic. Are you blind? So they fixed it and then delayed the movie for that. But honestly, the first Sonic movie was genuinely enjoyable. And the fact that they're bringing Idris Elba over for Knuckles and they're bringing in the original voice actor for Tails, or actress I should say, the original voice actress for Tails, my apologies, just makes this movie look incredible. And Robotnik actually looks like Robotnik. You know, he's bald, he's got the big beard. He's not like, you know, fat or anything, but he definitely looks like that egg-shaped guy that everybody knows and loves or hates. But yeah, other than that, like, there was literally nothing for me to watch at the Game Awards. I just sat there for hours, and you know, like, the fucked up thought in the back of my head was, wow, you guys were carried by Smash News, but that's clearly not true, because there are things that are better than Smash, but it's like a lot of some people watched it only for Smash News, which kind of sucks. But like, I'm trying to see all the new games they have, and they barely showed anything. And even on Nintendo's end, like, I get that they like to save their hot stuff for directs, but like, the shit they showed, I'm like, bro, you guys might actually be the worst video game company as of right now. I think Nintendo has taken the cake for probably the weakest game developing company as of now. And that's coming from someone that's looking forward to games like Pokemon Arceus and Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3. Like, they definitely have their lineup of titles, but at the same time, it's like, this has happened constantly, like, every year. And I get that there's a pandemic happening, but like, even with the way Nintendo communicates to their fans and the way they release products is just so god fucking awful. And like, I was kind of hoping for some sort of like either like mini Nintendo Direct or like a Nintendo Direct hype that we'll get at some point, or just something about Arceus or Breath of the Wild, or just a glimpse, a hint, a little ingredient, if I may add, like just something for me to hold on to until we get the big reveal. But like, yeah, I after that award show, and then like it takes two of these nuts, two or whatever the fuck that game title was, won best game of the year. First off, never heard of that game in my entire life. I don't know if I'm insulting a shit ton of It Takes Two fans. I apologize, but like, legit have never heard of that game. And this is coming from someone that like pays attention to games that do come out. Like, I've heard of Ratchet and Clank, you know, I understand that those games are coming back and they had their own little release. I recognize that Psychonauts 2 is a thing and has been liked by many people. Of course, I know Metroid Dread and Resident Evil Village, of course, has come out too, but literally, I almost think that game won solely for the Game Awards storytelling that dude, for some reason, I forgot which Game Awards it was, but he was like getting on the stage all hyped and like saying a bunch of weird shit on stage to like hype up his game, and it was memorable because of how outlandish he was there. And then he won Game of the Year, and I was like, okay, I mean, that's kind of funny, but at the same time, like, I literally don't know about your game. I've never heard of it. I've maybe seen like a screenshot or two, but I've never seen a community like praise this game as like the best game of the year. And I'm just still sitting here like, how the fuck did that win? Like, all of the nominations were really bad. I understand that we do live in a, you know, a weird time right now with the whole pandemic, so clearly there's some things that are on the backlog and we might get some spicier titles next year, but it just amazes me that the nominations were so weak this year, and I feel like I wasted 3 hours. Like, I could have just watched a bunch of like Adobe Premiere Pro tutorials and learned a thing or two about video editing, like, as I might do sometimes. But at the same time, like, I straight up just wasted 3 hours watching some dog shit performance, and I'm like mad disappointed, because usually I'll watch a Game Awards and be like, damn, that kind of sucked, but that wasn't the worst thing in the world. But this year I was like, oh my god, no, this was like more than unbearable. This was just shit. Like, I actually almost just stopped watching. Like, there was hardly anything I was like genuinely excited for. Like, everything that I had looked at, including games like Star Wars Eclipse, I looked at and I was just like, oh, that looks cool, might get that. That looks okay. oh, Sonic Frontiers, that looks pretty good, actually. That might be probably the best game that they've shown. Damn, open world Sonic, and then everything else was back to pretty good, boring, whatever. So, you know, like, I was expecting so much more out of the Game Awards just for it to turn out to that. And then they briefly brought up the whole, like, Blizzard thing, and they kind of just had, like, a weird speech. Like, I'm glad they brought it up, but at the same time, like, I get the feeling that they're not exactly, like, banishing Blizzard quite yet, which is why I'm like, damn, because the shit that's come up about them is pretty bad. So I don't know what their whole stance on it is, but regardless, I felt like the message was just kind of out of place and weird, simply because it felt forced, and they thought, oh, well, if we say one thing about it, it'll be okay. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Game Awards. I know there is a particular game that Edo is very surprised to not get nominated, so I'll have him take over for that.
Oh, you just wanted to remind me. Oh my goodness.
Of course, it's part of the topic list, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, well, since Mother Flower over there wanted to kinda reveal my embers of
That's
my
Father
fire.
Flower to you.
Oh, excuse me, because I'm going to unleash as to why this wasn't the worst. At the same time, to an extent, you are correct that this might be the worst one. So here's the thing. Okay. In terms of the nominees, I don't think it was actually that bad this year. Because there was actually a lot, like, you know, there are like many games that I'm not interested, that I'm not into, which it's kind of common for many of the games that get nominated for the past, well, let's see, 2021, 2019, 2020, for about 3 to 4 years now. I say that, like, there were certain games that actually got, like, great recognition. So it actually definitely was, not that bad. In terms of, like, reveals and stuff like that, here's the thing. Like, I usually can't expect too much for them to reveal, even though that, like, that's kind of part of the practices of what they do in the Game Awards. Like, they do, like, these world premieres and such, because that's, like, you know, everything. I don't rely on or think on it too much, which, plus, like, most of the stuff that they revealed wasn't exactly, I mean, you could say it's video game related, but, like, at the same time, like, it was not much really heavy related, so it felt like it there was some, like, dryness that it came out of it, but it wasn't that bad. I usually care more about for, like, you know, what gets nominated, and, you know, for some games that got selected, I was actually not even that mad. Like Final Fantasy XIV, that definitely deserved to get some recognition. I wanted to triumph World of Warcraft for the longest time, and I'm so fucking glad it did. I was even surprised it even triumphed Genshin Impact. That kind of caught me off guard, because everyone is feeding over that game right now. But in terms of, like, for, like, what got nominated and stuff like that, it actually wasn't that bad. And the music, it was, like, you know, the music performance, it was actually pretty decent. For this one, this time, it actually did not put me to sleep, because there was one Game Awards that actually legit put me to sleep until I saw Joker on my screen. That was 2018 when that happened. 2019, well, again, it was carried by reveals and such, and there were some nice nominees that happened, but, like, you know, it wasn't, like, that memorable. Literally, Sephiroth literally just saved the fucking show of it. Other than that, most of it was just about goddamn disaster. This, I feel like it was a good step forward to it, but not really at the same time, because it's like they take one step forward and they take, like, 5 steps back. And speaking of 5 steps back, since this had to be brought up, you know what? Maybe you might be right that this might be the worst Game Awards. Why? Because
oh, now you agree.
They hold on, I'm not done with you yet, mister. I am not done. You see, I don't understand. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Because clearly, even in the Game Awards, there were games that were just released that was on there. That was on the Game Awards. There were games I didn't even know about until they fucking mentioned it. But you want to know what they decided to diss on? Neo, The World Ends With You. Ain't no fucking way you're gonna sit here and tell me that should not be nominated. In what world What fucking world do you think you have the rights to do that? Who gave you those rights to just dismiss my game like that? I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a fuck if I just got into the game just like that. That is a classic. A classic that came from Square Enix that got a sequel, which nobody expected. And I'm surprised of how well, of how good it was. It's like one of those sequel games that everyone is afraid of because nobody wants to see a sequel of a game when, like, the first game was already perfect as is. No, this game in particular, I am surprised that it did not get the recognition it deserves. Look, in my opinion, I think it deserves Game of the Year because it was just that good. I actually was not expecting it to be that Game of the Year worthy. But no, it turned out to be Game of the Year worthy for me. The game is not perfect, but the fact that I have, like, very, very little bad things to say about it, or, like, you know, flaws that, like, I can't really see with this game is saying a whole lot. And the thing that everybody loves about The World Ends With You is the fucking music. The music goes fucking hard. And I'm upset it didn't even get nominated for music. Like, I'm sorry. Like, okay. What was it that won? Nier? Like, was it the Nier game that won the, like, the best, like, soundtrack or whatever?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Nier Replicant, right?
Okay, I'm not too mad that Nier Replicant won. Like, cause I mean, I have not played the game, but I've heard some of the music for Nier, and it's really solid.
It is.
But motherfucker, Neo is right there. And actually, I said this on my Twitter, but I'm gonna say it here in this podcast if anyone missed it. Do y'all know how much of a big fan I am of Persona 5 Royal? You know how big I am for that shit? It takes so much out of me, the fact that I'm sitting here today, again, saying that there is better music than Persona 5 Royal, and that's The World Ends With You. I cannot believe that there's a better soundtrack that I just happen to fucking rock with. And now I see why people rock with The World Ends With You, especially with its music and shit. Like, oh my god, they don't fucking play around. And I know there's a lot of people that have complained about, like, the music because that, like, it wasn't really, like, quote unquote composed. The original composer, or one of the composers, all they did, like, they just bought licenses to some songs and such, and they hardly do any remixes of it or whatever. I mean, like, okay, I get it. Like, it is a little bit infuriating because, like, they kind of just bought a song and they just pretty much said that, like, you know, they composed it, which to an extent, not really. That's why some of the songs it says, like, composed by or arranged by, which there's a difference on that. But even then, it had the pleasure of being part of the soundtrack of a very underrated game. And I didn't think that it was super underrated. And what opened my eyes was the fact that after... it's really funny because after that we didn't see Neo The World Ends With You part of the Game Awards, guess what? Couple days later, one of the directors of Square Enix, I don't know if it was the director of the game or, like, you know, the executives, but they said that, oh, it's really sad to say that Neo The World Ends With You underperformed than the expectations that we set for. And it's like, no fucking shit it did. No fucking shit it did. Why? Because you literally left it up to Nintendo to fucking advertise your goddamn game that you literally just left it to dust. And that is, like, one of your most precious games that you guys have out there. I didn't know about it until I literally looked at the trailers. There's only, like, 2 trailers that was Square Enix. The rest, they were just Nintendo. Because, you know, they were doing this big whole thing for it to be on the Nintendo Switch. And, dog, it didn't even have that. But, like, it only showed up for 5 seconds at the last E3. That's it. That's all the marketing it had. Not much in advertisements, not much in anything. And a lot of people were telling me, well, that's probably the reason why I didn't get into Game Awards. It's because that it didn't get that well reception, which I understand that though, but why are there these other games that I've never heard of in my life in the fucking goddamn Game Awards? Like, if that's the fucking case, why is Neo not there? I'm sorry, but, like, oh god. To think that I have to face the facts that the game did not perform well, and guess what? They put it on Epic Games Store. I get it because Square Enix has like some type of like formal partnership with Epic Games, but nobody goes on Epic Games to buy games. Nobody. Not a single soul. They're now just doing it just so they can get people to go on Epic Games Store, because most of them just go for Fortnite. But now everyone's going to there because everyone is forced to download another program, which again, in a sense, it helps them. It's for what they want. It's a good marketing strategy, but nobody wants that shit. Everyone goes to Steam for that shit. If they put that shit on Steam, I promise you, it would have done a lot better. It fucking would have done a whole lot better, and if they did their marketing right, and I have no fucking idea why, because I looked at they had this thing called the final trailer, and Square Enix is known to have final trailers for when it comes to, anticipated games like this. Like, they had a final trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. They had a final trailer for 15. They did the same thing for Neo. They do this a lot. I don't know what planet you have to be on to, like, give out a whiplash of, like, major spoilers. Which, the good thing is that the severity of those major spoilers, it wasn't as bad as Kingdom Hearts 3. Because, like, it's still, like, there's still a lot that you can definitely explore with Neo and such, though. But it's just, like, looking at that, I'm like, this is not how you advertise your fucking shit. Like, especially, like, showing, like, I'm not gonna say too much spoilers. I'm not. But, like, there are some things where it's just, like, you do not see that until Endgame. And it's just, like, dog, what are you doing? Why would you do that? It hurts me. It hurts me so much. The fact that, like, at the same time, I don't know what is the fucking expectations that Game Awards expect. And there was a whole Twitter movement to, like, ensure that Neo gets the proper marketing and such. And I'm doing the same thing on, like, sometimes I go on Twitter first thing in the morning, play Neo The World Ends With You, or if you have not played the first game, play the first game, then play the second. And to make other type of clarifications, yes, you do have to play the first one to play the second one. The director or somebody from Square Enix said that you don't have to. Dog, the first 10 minutes of Neo is already major spoilers from the first game. Possibly almost end game spoilers of the first game. And I can't say anything more than that, though, but it's just like, do not listen to that. All I'm saying is that the Game Awards don't know shit. Square Enix, as much as I love their fucking games, their marketing tactics are so fucking shit. They used to be good at it. They used to be good. Now they're trash at it, and it makes me mad, because now they're going out here going like, oh, like, I fucking forgot his name. I had it written down somewhere in my fucking notes, because I was actually going to talk about this in a podcast before we decided to come to an end to it, though. But now you want to preach to us that the game didn't do well, and now you're trying to get it to do well. Motherfuckers, too late for that. Because you released the games, you released Neo on the consoles, and then you said it was gonna release at sometime in the summer. Hello? It released literally like right at the beginning of fall. Y'all went radio silent for so long, and then y'all just like come out with a fucking like a tweet or like a small like 5-minute video trailer that can be found on a goddamn TV commercial. I'm like, oh, by the way, it's coming out in about like a few days from now. And it's just like, this is the move? Oh my god, like, please tell me. I need to know, because sometimes companies, even though they can look shit to the public face value, sometimes there might be reasons for it, because sometimes they're cooped up with this project, sometimes they're cooped into that project. How bad is the department right now for the marketing for Neo The World Ends With You? How bad was it? Were they tied up with other projects? I need to know. These questions have to be asked, because with Square Enix being highly anticipated, being pressured by the community to their consumers, the executives goes to their team, and they're over here going like, hey, yo, motherfuckers, we need to get this out there. We need to do this. I don't care how. We just need to get this, so then they have some form of recognition. Look, motherfucker, I'm gonna sit here and tell you that while it's great that you recognize all these things, this is the worst way that you do it, and you're gonna come out here with the bold statement, acting all surprised, like you're in a goddamn telenovela, that it underperformed. I hate you. I fucking hate you. I love your games, but I hate you. I'm upset. I don't know if I'm gonna recover from this because look, even if it didn't win, I still think it deserves some type of recognition, especially the fact that people like. You know how much I was on edge hoping to hear Neo The World Ends With You music at the Game Awards? Because sometimes they play the games. Sometimes they play the soundtracks of the games out of nowhere. I was like hoping for that because it's so top tier. I'm not saying that from okay, maybe you can argue that I'm saying that in a very biased perspective though, but motherfucker, I'm here to tell you. I'm here telling you that I've been enlightened by this glory of light, that I've been missing this for almost 10 years of my life, maybe more than that. And Neo coming out, they literally step up their fucking game. I can't say anything more than that though. Just play the games and you'll see what I mean. Because there's so much to understand, because I went from like, oh, this is a cute game to it's one of the fucking best games out there, and I'm so mad that it doesn't get that proper marketing. So we as the consumers are fucking doing the marketing for them. Volunteered, unpaid. Hope you know that, Square. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I just even as someone that has not played those games, I've actually heard a lot about like how good The World Ends With You sequel is, and I think I've heard about that game more than I have about It Takes Two. So the fact that it wasn't even put up for a nomination is crazy, and that is true that you bring up, like, why would they leave it to Nintendo to advertise a Square game on their console? Like, that's just weird marketing. Like, it almost feels like they didn't want that game to do well to begin with. And that just seems very off to me. So I can share your feelings about that for sure. And I just feel like the Game Awards have gotten super normie, which is kind of where my opinion on the Game Awards are. Like, I genuinely feel like this was the worst one, just because I feel like there were so many other games that got released this year that I feel should have just been put on the list but weren't. And you know, it is what it is at the end of the year. But like, yeah, because I mean, like, I can't believe that was not put on the list. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But yeah, that does suck that was just wasn't talked about enough.
They got the wrong vector. They were on the wrong goddamn vector for thinking that. Like, I've never heard It Takes Two in my goddamn life until that day. I'm like, what the fuck is this game? I didn't even know this was a game. I didn't even know that was a game title. I thought that was like, what, a starting sentence, like, It Takes Two to what? To tango? To dance? What? What are we doing? And then I saw it was a game title. I'm like, oh, it's a game? That's fucking crazy how I never fucking heard of it. Fuck you. Ugh.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of where my argument comes into play too. And yeah, I'm just like trying to find something to say, because I genuinely am surprised that game just flat out did not even have a nomination or any sort of place in the Game Awards. Like, they just kind of glossed over, like, oh yeah, that game is a thing. Anyways, It Takes Two though. And I'm just like, really? I'm just surprised. I really am surprised that just it just wasn't recognized.
I don't know. I don't understand. I will say that, like, when it comes to the nominees, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I hear that, like, sometimes it is based on to, like, the popular reception of to basically gaming as a whole, and they look at numbers, and I'm just like, no, bitch. No, I don't think you actually look at that. You guys play favoritism. You play favoritism, and you try to get the fairness of everything. And you know what? I get that, but understand that quality is quality. That's quality right there. I don't know what the fuck It Takes Two is, and no, miss me. Goodbye. No. I'm mad. I'm upset.
Bro, I am too. I genuinely just do not blame you for that at all. Like, yeah, it's strange. But pretty much to wrap that up, like, yeah, the Game Awards was just not good this year. And I mean, you know, whether you think it's the worst of all time, or not as bad as people are making it out to be. I think one thing we can all agree on is that it's just been consistently kind of sucky. Like, this feels like a very normie program at this point. There's just not a lot of heart and soul put in this. I feel like they don't really reach out to the communities that I think they should be reaching out to. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of a weak show. So
yeah, one more thing I actually want to mention about this, because this fucking bothered me. For a lot of you that did not wear your masks, I'm ashamed of you. I'm a goddamn shame of you.
Yeah, I don't know what the policy of that was. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't care if like they said they checked everyone that's vaccinated or not. No. Like we're in a pandemic that, like, there is nothing to hold up with appearances and stuff like that as of right now, because right now Game Awards is really not the Game Awards. The pandemic is still shaky. We still have Omicron that's on the rise and stuff like that, and there's many other things that, like, we still have to take into consideration. I don't give a fuck if you're vaccinated or not. Wear your goddamn mask. There was too many people there. Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I didn't like that either.
No, that actually got me upset, because, like, I was wondering how they were gonna do it this year, and I saw that and I'm like, are y'all kidding me right now? I will not be surprised if y'all got COVID. Fuck y'all. Oh my god.
Yeah, for real.
Oh lord. But that is a little bit of a reminder of always wash your goddamn hands. Always take the nice hottest showers of your goddamn life, because life is not going anywhere. We just want this pandemic to go somewhere that's not in this goddamn world. And just do your part to make this pandemic end. Please, I just want to go outside without the worry of somebody fucking being a hoe.
Exactly.
But anyways.
Alright.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Game Awards, and yeah, go play The World Ends With You. Fuck you.
And moving on from that, I'm going to keep this very brief. I actually am not going to talk about this. I might as well surprise it at this point, but there is a possibility I will do kind of like my own standoff, not podcast series thing, but like maybe here or there I'll like make a little mini discussion thing and post it on YouTube. It won't be often though, but in this case I think I'm going to save a lot of my thoughts for Spider-Man No Way Home for that. But that's what this next topic is. I'm just going to talk about like mini predictions and expectations for the film, because as of recording this right now it's December 14th and I'm going to be watching that film on Thursday, which is the 16th, and I am so hyped for it, so I definitely have to say something about it. I want to just say, first off, I think it is insane how much coverage this film has gotten and like how much hype is being built around it. I don't think I've seen this much hype for a film in a while since like Endgame, to the point where even the red carpet is a spoiler. Because I just had a friend of mine not too long ago from like last night when the red carpet event was going on. He got spoiled by just seeing some of the actors that were on the red carpet. Like, you may be thinking of particular individuals that I'm thinking of that are going to be in the movie, but no, like there are some unexpected faces, apparently, from what he told me. And he was saying, like, he was just thinking, damn, like I got spoiled from the red carpet. I didn't think that would happen. And it did. So just a fair warning. Not that I have to give this probably, just because, I don't know when this episode's going to go up. And quite frankly, I think the warning will rub off anyways. But just be warned in the future in general of spoilers, stuff like that. But I'm actually so hyped for this film, because I not only thought it was going to be good just from like the concept of it, but when I first saw the 2 trailers that released over the course of this like fall winter timeline, I was like, dude, this movie has so much potential. Like, I think this is going to be a great segue into his next trilogy, because I really just need like a dark tone from Peter Parker, because the whole part about his story is that his life sucks and he lives 2 lives, which is that being a vigilante, aka hero known as Spider-Man, and then also being Peter Parker, who like, goes to school, he's super bright, has a future for himself if, maybe he were to drop Spider-Man, right? So I feel like the MCU just hasn't hit that. It just hasn't hit that yet, And I want to say the reasoning for that might be because this is a quite a younger version of Peter Parker that we've seen, like, in his early years of high school, now leading up to, I think this is going to be senior year, and the trilogy is supposedly going to focus on, like, his college years. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think it is cool. And the last Far From Home film I wasn't, like, a big fan of. I was a little disappointed, but I still thought it was a fun film. I think it was probably my least favorite just because I didn't remember anything from it, and honestly, I thought it could have been a lot better. But this film, aside from all the multiverse stuff and, like, all of the, you know, classic villains returning with their original cast members and whatnot, I genuinely think there's going to be some really interesting stuff that will happen in this film. And from the early reviews I've heard, it's pretty fast-paced. There's just action happening all the time. There's a bunch of surprises. There's just some fresh content happening, like, all the time. And I don't know if people have been saying this just out of hype or if they've really analyzed the film and taken the time to digest it, but I've heard a lot of people saying this is, like, one of the best Spider-Man films of all time. And that is really high praise, I want to mind you, because this film is going to be competing with Into the Spider-Verse, the Sam Raimi movies, and if they're talking content, we'll put PS4 Spider-Man up there too, because I deem that as, like, probably the best Spider-Man content we've gotten, like, on any sort of, like, entertainment platform when it comes from films to video games. Like, Spider-Man PS4 is fantastic. It is so good.
Yes.
Like, the way they portray Doc Ock, I'm thinking they won't be able to outdo Sam Raimi. No, literally somehow they did that, but, like, miles better. Like, they really showed the connection between Doc Ock and Peter Parker in this one, and, like, that game is so good. I've replayed it now, like, 3 or 4 times, and oh man, that game is so good. But, like, if you're gonna rank No Way Home from that type of content, like, I am as of now going in there with some pretty high expectations, and this is just aside from the reveals that they have. So whether they meet the expectations or not is whatever, but I know for the most part I'm going with a couple friends, so, like, I know this is going to be a pretty fun and entertaining film experience, and I can't wait to experience that Thursday. But I just, you know, I'm also nervous because I have been a derelict this past 24 hours since I said I was going to quote unquote not look at Twitter, and I've looked at Twitter. Let's just be real. I had to peep. I'm not peeping any Spider-Man news. I'm just peeping more so, like, other news that have pertained to the Smash community, or, like, other films that I want to look at, and also looking at, like, Halo clips too. But I was pretty close to running the risk. I was pretty close a couple times, but I wasn't, like, risking anything. But those spoilers are not a joke, man. People are ruthless. They will post anything at any time with no warning. So I think the most you can do is just mute keywords and stay prepared. But all I'm going to say is I pray most of y'all are going to be watching it on the Thursday, Friday, or within the week, because if not, you're going to get spoiled, whether you like it or not. Your friends are going to be talking about it. Your family's going to be talking about it. The people you follow on social media are going to be talking about it. It's going to be on those little Instagram stories you always view after school or work, and you're not going to have a fun time. So go watch it. Go support movie theaters, especially during a pandemic, because that industry is looking a little dicey right now with movie theaters. So this is the perfect film to go watch and support your local movie theater.
Then
so that's all I have to say.
Just be fucking responsible. That's
I know. Go, please wear your
asking.
mask, and do not give concierge a hard time. Please, I'm begging you. Look, I know none of you want to be working at a movie theater close to Christmas and when one of the biggest movies of this year is coming out. I know you don't. So put yourselves in their shoes and understand that this is probably very painful for them. They are going to be dealing with a lot of customers, and within those customers are going to be some bad apples. So please, for the love of God, be patient with people and just enjoy the show. You know what I mean?
But if someone's not wearing their mask, there's no patience to be had. You smack that motherfucker with the mask on.
Smack him and escort him out of the building. Get his ass out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Stinky, smelly ass, sick motherfucker.
Do not be a statistic to remain healthy. You are above that. At least I want to believe so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, for me, I can't wait out a little bit on it. If you guys don't know, I semi-recently this year became a Spider-Man fan. And it's crazy because I'm not a huge, like, fan of, like, superhero movies or whatever. I'm not, like, really into that. Probably because of my background personally. However, Spider-Man has probably been, like, the only exception to that because it's not just, like, superhero stuff. Like, of course, that's, like, the main theme of it. If that's, like, the main premises. But there is a lot more factors than just his superhero missions that he has to achieve out, and to the morals of upholding order and such in his own way. It's a very, very fucked up and very, like, morally gray, twisted area as to where he's torn in between two. And there's no win for him. He didn't just, again, like, I just can't believe that at the time, like, when I was a child, because I did watch Spider-Man when I was, like, a baby, especially the movie, I didn't get it. Like, you know, I didn't understand anything. I was just growing up. I was just a mere child. I am 23 right now, and the fact that, like, there are people that have already died, and they, like, nobody talks about it back then. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, he already has to deal with the fact that, like, he can't save everyone. His life is, like, heavily involved, and because that, like, always some shit happens in goddamn New York. Always. And he can't catch a break, and especially of how many people he knows, it's even worse. And he still has to keep an identity a secret and use the best of his ability to ensure that he's fast enough so nobody questions about his whereabouts. Nobody questions about what he does in his own personal time. All of that. And maintaining those relationships, also just, again, some Hannah Montana shit. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's technically some Hannah Montana shit.
Yeah.
But there are more directions that they've taken with Spider-Man, which I am a huge fan of. The only one that I'm not exactly too crazy about is Tom Holland. It's not exactly too horrible, but, like, you know, I get it that it's, like, a younger version of, like, you know, of the take of Peter Parker, and they're trying to integrate, like, you know, him more into, like, you know, the Marvel universe, which, for me, I do have a problem with it, because, like I've said before, I'm not exactly too into it. I like Spider-Man as his own thing. However, when I watched the Tom Holland movie, the first one, that is, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's just, like, nothing could ever top over Tobey Maguire for me. Like, that is, like, a huge, like, classic, where it's just, like, I would prefer if it's its own thing, though. However, I can remain open-minded, depending as to how they go with the roots of this. And, of course, you have the other three movies, too, with, Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Very good. It's just funny of how his personality just swaps when he's, you know, to his usual self as Peter. And then you have Spider-Man. I was kind of a little bit weirded out by that, and, you know, the biggest problem that I had with that specifically was because that, I'm trying not to say this in a way to offend Andrew, but, like, that motherfucker is, he is very flashy. That's the best way how I'm going to say that. And Peter Parker is not exactly flashy as Peter Parker. Which, in terms of Spider-Man, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it works. But for Peter Parker, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't, which it was really weird for me to see that. But I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, there was actually some good merits that, like, I actually did enjoy with it, though. I just think the fact of how far they took in the direction of Tom Holland's Spider-Man / Peter Parker has me very thrown off, but it can't be a horrible thing either.
Yeah.
Which I'm waiting to see as to how the movie's going to turn out. Which for me, I'm surprised by this because I'm actively on Twitter and I have not encountered, like, much Spider-Man content or, like, reveals or talks about it on my timeline, which I'm really surprised about because I didn't even, like, bother, like, muting anything. Like, it's just kind of been quiet for me, so I don't know how I'm getting lucky. I guess the gods just know that I'm not gonna watch it for months until, like, you know, it's out on DVDs or online, whatever. So I guess I'm just that blessed. Hopefully I don't fucking jinx myself. But also another thing I do want to talk about, like Crunch mentioned earlier, I also played the games for of Spider-Man that was on the PS4. For me, I played it on the PS5, both of them, the remastered version of it, with the new model and the Miles Morales, which I do want to talk about Miles actually. I love the direction of Miles so much, and I'm just glad it's just not like another Peter Parker. Because I thought that was going to be another case of that, but no, they incorporated a lot of different lifestyle elements for Miles Morales, and I hope they keep it that way. Especially, like, Into the Spider-Verse, that version of it. And I'm excited for that movie to come out, too. The next one, the sequel. There was a lot of comments that a lot of people were making, which I'm not going to talk about, but I'm not too worried about this one, at least. The Tom Holland movie, yes, I am. I actually have some concerns. But for Spider-Verse, I don't. And it's part 1 too, so that means there's gonna be more, and I'm actually very excited as to how they're gonna write out this story. But I will say the only thing that I'm not exactly too fan of as of right now is the version in the PS5. The story wasn't exactly that good, but it wasn't that heavy. It wasn't really that all great. The gameplay was amazing. It was awesome. It's great. It's better than Peter Parker's gameplay. But in terms of the story, I had many gripes about it. And the antagonist, I'm not gonna talk too much about it though. But all I'm gonna say is she a bitch. She a bitch. And not the type of bitch where it's just like, oh wow, like you're actually a really cool no, you're just a bitch. But that's all I really have to say on my end about Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, for the actor's part, not like being a big fan of him, I used to think that like a long time ago, especially with Andrew Garfield, but like as I've continued to like study film while I was at school and then like rewatching a lot of movies, I don't think it's necessarily the actors for me, because I actually love all of the actors. I actually really, to some degree, do like The Amazing Spider-Man, and I think there are parts that they nailed that I don't think the other movies did. So for me, I think it's more so the writers that kind of flubbed, like something like The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
because the story is cool. I think the story is pretty interesting, but you know, for like to make Peter Parker this weird, like almost kind of a fuckboy, like flashy, sort of just whatever guy, is a really weird take on Spider-Man. And I think for first watch, for me, that was like, this is weird. But then after getting used to it and looking back on the film, I actually really do appreciate those films. Like that first Amazing Spider-Man movie, I really like it, man. I don't know what it is. I think like that version of Spider-Man has some of the coolest action scenes I've ever seen in a live action Spider-Man to begin with. Like I don't even think Tom Holland's Spider-Man has done that yet. And that's not to discredit Tom, but that's just more so like the, you know, the coordinators. Like I feel like there's not as many like flashy moves in like live action Spider-Man films, but in Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man, like they had a lot of cool slow-mo shots and action sequences, and he was fighting like Spider-Man. So while his Peter Parker was kind of weird and definitely very unique at that, I think the stunt work and him being Spider-Man is so dope. Also, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, by far, has the best live-action Spider-Man costume of all time. It is so
I agree with that, yes.
Good. That costume is godlike. And I was really hoping it would be in the Spider-Man PS4 game, because while they do have the Amazing Spider-Man 1 in there, that costume is so godlike. Because not only is it somewhat close and accurate to the comic book representation, because something that he's pretty known for are those big buggy eyes, and then, you know, the red and blue, of course, but like everything blends so well together, and the costume looks so clean and straight, and like in the movie too, it looks fantastic. But I will say that is probably one of the weaker live action films, because I think a lot of people appreciate the MCU, so majority of the time people are going to prefer Tom Holland over Andrew Garfield. But I think there was a really cool take to The Amazing Spider-Man, and I feel like it didn't reach its full potential simply because of the writers. They had some, oh my god, they had some weird ass shit in those movies. And if I may, I'm gonna briefly bring up The Amazing Spider-Man 3, because this was supposed to be a movie, but was not because of Kevin Feige. The meeting that he had with Sony around the time of like a little bit after The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they were planning to somehow, from what I remember, I don't know if they were going to try to bring Andrew Garfield into the MCU or if they were trying to make like Amazing Spider-Man 3 fit in there or whatever, but the deal ended with them recasting Spider-Man and gutting the Amazing Spider-Man 3 story, which was very, very weird. They were going to try to like bring back Gwen Stacy through, I don't know if it was like time travel or some weird shit, and Emma Watson was going to be in the movie, and like a bunch of other interesting cast picks, and like MJ was going to be in the film too, and like it was just going to be a complete mess. But I think from what I remember, I think one of the villains might have been Kraven, I think, or I'm not sure how they were going to set it up. I think they were trying to set up Sinister Six towards the end, but I don't know if they were going to commit to it in Amazing Spider-Man 3, but I'm actually really glad that film did not happen, because unlike Spider-Man 4, you know, I would have really liked to have seen a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4, because I think Sam Raimi would have been able to redeem himself after like the unfortunate circumstances of Spider-Man 3, despite it being a decent movie. I think like that movie would have been incredible had Sony not intervened and been like, hey, put Venom in the movie. But the thing about Spider-Man actors is I never blame them for themselves. I blame the writers for putting them on the scenes that they have to do, because I think Tom Holland is a fantastic actor and he does play a really good Peter Parker for the script that he is given. Same thing with Andrew Garfield, and then Tobey Maguire too. And like, I've never been like a huge fan of Tobey as like an actor, like throughout the rest of his projects. Like there's a few movies here and there that I really do like, but I've never really like grown up on his movies before. But him as Spider-Man is fantastic. Like he had an incredible approach to it from a writing standpoint and just him being an actor. But I think a lot of the problem stems from the fact that the writing is super effective in making a good Spider-Man film. And I feel like this new trilogy has the potential to help Tom Holland redeem himself and get more people to respect him as Spider-Man, because I can see it in him that he is really good. It's just I don't think other people do, and I blame the writers for that, because the stuff they have Peter doing and like the corny joke lines they're giving him and the way they're making him act, like in some circumstances, is kind of dull and takes away from the magic of Peter Parker and like what it means to be this kid with a huge responsibility, balancing between one life to another. So in that sense, like that's where I'm coming from when I talk about Spider-Man films. But yeah, that's like the last thing I have to say about it. But I'm just gonna say I hope the writing is good for No Way Home, and from what I can tell and hear, it's really good. So that's the credit I'm gonna give those movies, though.
It better be good, goddammit.
I know. Same. I'm hoping.
I'm worried, but I'll put in my hope where it should be placed, because again, the fact that it even intrigues my interest is huge. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have to say. If you're not into Spider-Man, go and get into Spider-Man. I was just like that in that position before, but now I love it. Go watch it or play it. I don't give a fuck.
Agreed.
But also, I just want to quickly mention this. Well, because I mean, I think we had to air out what we had to air out. So, first off, I would like to give a little bit of a huge shout out to the people that I was on a Twitter space with like a couple weeks ago. Let's just say they were like the first exclusive people that knew that this podcast was coming to an end before we even made the announcement of it. We had Yetterman, Blaze, and Isa, right? Or is it Isa?
Oh yeah, Isa?
Isa. Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. I did not
Yeah.
mention the name. I got it right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Shout out to you guys. I hope you guys are listening to this podcast. I did not forget, and I'm upholding my promise to you. I'm upholding it. It's just crazy how, like, it kind of just unfolded, and, you know, I went to talking about some stuff, and, you know, a lot of people knew my affiliation with Crunch, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, no, the podcast is ending, by the way. They're like, what? They're like, what do you mean it's ending?
Yeah, I remember you had told me this story, and I was like, oh shit, so you've interacted with Isa and, like, you know, Blaze and Yatterman in some shape or form. And, like, I remember, like, I don't know if one of them hit me up or something like that, but they were like, what the fuck, you have merch? Like, that's sick. And then I think they looked into the show because of that, or they might have been familiar with it. But yeah, I was like, damn, I feel kind of bad because, like, the show's ending and, like, y'all just found it. Like, I feel bad.
Right, like, I came into the Twitter space because I saw, like, Yatterman was in it, so I was just like, okay, like, you know, I had some small time while I'm, like, doing something, so I wanted to see what they were up to. And when I joined it, they were like, oh my god, it's Edo, and I'm like, y'all know me? What the hey, oh, wait. And, yeah, no, I'm like, alright, well, I guess I'm playing Q&A here, which it was fucking funny, but, you know, but... Yatterman, Blaze, Isa, I got y'all. Thank you so much for this support that you guys have given us. And especially for, you know, I decided, and oh yeah, especially for not saying about the top secret information about this podcast. And now that it's out there. So, you know, bless y'all for that. And especially, you know, we love you guys for the support. So thank you for that. If the merchandise was still available, I would have got you guys some fucking merch with your guys' name on it and shit, because y'all were cool for that night. That was awesome. But it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, you know, I might actually host a Twitter Space someday. That shit's actually kind of fun. I didn't think a lot of interactions was going to happen. I kind of been joining some of them recently, and it definitely hits different than Discord. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah. I already gave out my PSAs about Spider-Man. Neo, the world ends with you. Yeah, then that means...
Damn, this is the home stretch.
This is the home stretch, yes. Oh, gosh. Okay. As your host, Edo Ninja of Storm Connect, let me go into the details that I promised. So, why are we ending this podcast? Here's the thing. We actually were not expecting to end it so soon. There's still much that we still cannot talk about, which I apologize that I cannot reveal those details to you right now. But what I can tell you is that it was a discussion for a good amount of weeks. And and the reason why it was a good discussion was because that there were a lot of things that came up of not only on my timeline, but in his timeline as well.
Yeah.
And one of them was getting a new fucking PC, and he's literally using that setup right now to record his first episode with it, and the last one.
I know. That's funny.
Which, we thought it was hilarious, but at the same time, it's just like, god damn, like, this is really the end of it. But, that said, some things have came up into our timeline, and it's not something that, like, oh, this happened, that means, like, you know, we're gonna have to take another hiatus. It's bigger than that, actually. And we know that we have taken some hiatus here and there, and that's because that we've been trying to take care of ourselves and, you know, our health, because we have so much work that's been piled up on us, and it's been really difficult to do that podcast. But that's not the reason why we're ending it. But it's just the fact that many opportunities have, you know, arose. They have rised up, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, if we do that, there are going to be serious repercussions to the podcast, and that's why Crunch and we were in serious discussions about that for a very, very long time. And the weekend before Thanksgiving, that's when we had to get to the final discussion of it. And unfortunately, I've already made up my mind. Which For me, I would have to be off of Storm Connect, and this has to end. And, you know, I didn't know if Crunch wanted to continue this podcast, but guess what? Here we are in this timeline that he says that I think it would be best to end it, which it's good because that means we're giving out that type of content of stuff which we promised to you guys. And especially again, like I said before, we did not expect for this podcast to like grow like that and for it to actually have some type of community where people are actually listening to us. That caught me off guard. But that said, I do want to stress this. It may be the end of this podcast, but it is not the end of us. And like I said, there are things that have came up in our timeline. You will, I promise you, you will see that someday. Maybe someday soon, actually. I can't promise anything, but you will see that into the near future of it. This is not the end. We're not saying goodbye. In my case, I can't speak for Crunch's case, but in my case, you will see me again, just in a different form.
Yeah. I guess my message to that is, even before the whole discussion, I've been thinking about just ending it for a while, just because as of now, I am no longer a college student. I am a college graduate, which is hype. I'm finally done. I don't have to sit through a classroom anymore. To my knowledge, I've checked. Looks like to me I am done. But over the past 4 years since I started college, one of my end goals was I would get a PC at the end of my college journey to just kind of commemorate like a new chapter in my life starting and like kind of give myself a reward for getting through it all, because college is not an easy thing. There's a lot of people that drop out, and while it's not hard to be a graduate, it does take a lot of persistence and effort and hard work, and I'm just proud of myself for being able to get through all those hard times. So now I have a nice setup here that I'm recording this final episode on, which is poetic in a sense, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is. But also on top of that, I think like especially after, like during school and even after school, it's just really hard to find time to fit this podcast in, because as some of you may know, I edit for like 3 different people. And on top of that, I'm going to probably start job hunting within like January. So I'm kind of just trying to take advantage of my time. And after reviewing a lot of the time that I do have, it was just really hard for me to find a way to fit the podcast in. So even before all of the unexpected news and situations that arose happened, I think this was going to come to an end regardless. But I'm really proud of what we were able to accomplish, because I genuinely did not expect to actually accept the co-host position. I was even kind of surprised I even said yes to begin with, but I kind of wanted to just try something new, because I've watched people do a podcast, but I've always wanted to like try to be a host or a co-host, just because I don't shut the fuck up and I like talking. So I kind of needed a platform to do that on, and I think this was like the perfect opportunity to take advantage of that. So I don't regret it at all. Like there's a lot of episodes that we have saved in case anything happens to our Spotify page or whatever. So we're gonna try to upload all of our episodes onto my channel through a curated playlist, like a YouTube playlist, so everybody can go back and check out anything. So the memories will, you know, still be there. They're not going anywhere. And the final episode will be here, but I won't necessarily say that this is the end for me either, despite the fact that I didn't have it in me to continue Storm Connect. There might be some times where I will occasionally post like a little mini podcast or something, just sort of discussing things that are interesting to me and topics that I relate to. I might bring a friend or two here and there, like talking about like music or, you know, the entertainment industry and, you know, whatever other topics come to mind. But yeah, no, I'm super. See
me again too.
Oh, true. Yeah, no, like I could literally bring on anyone if they're down for it. Like if we ever wanted to discuss something, I could bring Edo, I could bring a friend of mine. I could literally bring like anyone on here if I really wanted to. But it's not going to be under a network. It's just going to be a more chill, laid back kind of environment. So if that ever ends up happening, I'll definitely update on my channel more and do like whatever from there. But it's not really a priority, which is why it won't happen often, but it could. But regardless, I'm pretty thankful for Storm Connect. It's definitely taught me a lot. I've been able to experience cool things. We've been able to co-host. We've had some discussions that I've been wanting to have for a while, like specifically that editing episode. That was fun with Kirim and, or no wait, is his name Kirim, right?
Kirumi and Dan Strife.
Yeah, Kiromi and Dan Strife, right. Like, that episode was so fun because it was nice being able to talk to, like, Smash montage editors and people that are working with different brands and companies, and then talking to Edo and myself. Like, we had, like, a nice little environment going on, and that was, like, probably my favorite episode today because gushing about, like, Smash content creation and just editing in general was really fun, and talking about the community and, like, reminiscing on some of those times that I lived through. But yeah, I don't even know what else to say. I'm just shocked it's coming to an end, but
me too.
At the same time, it is what it is. All good things must come to an end, but you know, some good things can come up later on in the future. So definitely look forward to that.
Yes. So, with my conclusive statement on the matter, like I said, I know it sucks. I know it really, really sucks that this podcast is coming to an end and the norm is breaking. So what I'm going to tell you as of right now, once the podcasts have been successfully archived to where it should be, the Storm Connect Twitter account will be deleted. It's going to be gone. We will make the post as to when it happens. A little bit as a warning, so you guys know as to where those episodes are located, and when the Twitter account is going to be gone. So, everything is going bye-bye. So, just know that it's coming. I know it sucks, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't be sad about this. Don't, there's nothing to be sad about. Even though that this routine is no longer going to be a thing, I'm going to tell you this right now. What's in the future is even more exciting. Which, that's why we're saying this is not the end of us. We're entering into a new era, a new beginning. And for what era that I am going to... Well, I can't say that much. I really want to. I really want to tell you guys what this next era is going to be. But I can't, because there are many things that I have to get done with it first, and some things that I have to settle, and to ensure that things go smoothly and according to plan. But just know that it's coming, and hopefully it comes sooner than expected. But I can't promise a correct timeline of it, though. But just keep up to date with my Twitter, my personal Twitter, EdoNinjaZ, for that. The only people that know the secret outside of this big thing is Crunch here. So if you know, you know. But
it's dope.
This is not the end. I'm going to see you guys again in the future, and what I want to do, I'm gonna put it this way. I've been wanting to do this for so long, and now it's being put into action. This is now the beginning of what I wanted to do, and I won't stop at nothing until I achieve to the peak of where I want this to be at. That's all that I can say, but please be excited for 2022. Storm Connect, I'm sorry. I love Storm Connect, I really do, and especially for the things that I've crafted together to keep the engagement with you guys, and to basically just be snarky on the Twitter account at times, even though it's not so much different from my Twitter account, but, you know, I just say it a little bit more nicer, because Crunch here is nicer than I am. I, however, am not. So I had to, sometimes it was a struggle to word some of the tweets, because I'm just like, damn, how do I word this with two people like jumbled up together to an agreement of forming a sentence? Because there will be some things that I will say and he'll just be like, okay, I would not say all that, and I'm just like, man, and then it's vice versa. So, but it does suck, and especially of how much, like, because I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. Like, I crafted a huge roadmap for Storm Connect as to what I plan for into the future, and again, the fact that it came to an end so soon was because of those set so reasons as to what I'm excited about, and I hope you guys will be excited for the same thing. And I'm not what's gonna be next. I'm not joking. I'm not playing. this is serious now. This is a serious ball game that I'm going to be throwing out there. And I'm going to make sure that it gets to where it needs to. Even if it has to get me to my deathbed. Hopefully that doesn't come to that case, which I strongly doubt that, because it's going to take a lot of effort. But just expect that. I've said enough of it. I've said enough. But I also thank you guys, especially for the people that came from my YouTube channel to listen to this podcast, and especially to my community that came here to support this podcast. And even though I've struggled through many hardships with this podcast, even though there were many things that were in the air behind the scenes and stuff like that, we still wanted to provide that type of support and give out that type of content because, I mean, shit, I didn't think y'all would listen to us more than an hour, but fuck, here we are anyways. But especially me ranting about Ruby. My favorite part of this podcast was me ranting about Ruby in the good light and the bad light. And I'm probably gonna do that, like, this part I can't talk about. I might do that again in some way, shape, different, or form, but I'm gonna miss doing this in Storm Connect because I would not shut up. I will never shut up about Ruby because I go through going like, oh my god, yeah, to why the fuck are you doing this to me, Rooster Teeth? What the fuck? I'm going to miss that, but maybe it will be brought out differently. I don't know. I can't tell you of that timeline specifically, but, you know, especially to how dedicated I am to Ruby, it definitely will not be the last of it, though. But the plans, I've said enough. So, thank you guys for sticking to me for so long, even though I wasn't planning on ending this so soon. It is for the best, and I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm not. All I'm going to say, this is Edo Ninja. I'm signing out. Oh.
What an exit.
You know what?
The first
what
ever
an exit.
I thought we were doing the whole this is Edo and this is Crunch thing. I was like, oh, that was a clean transition. They kept going. I was like, oh, I fucked it up.
Nah, that's my fault. We're not cutting that out. But anyways, taking it from the top again.
Okay, do you want me to do it or not?
You know what? Go ahead. I'll let you.
Or no, I meant like, do you want me to say "and this is Crunch" when you say that?
Oh,
because you can say what you want. I'll just say "and this is Crunch" because I'm done.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So going back to a minute earlier, we're time traveling.
Yeah, we're going back.
We're time traveling. We're changing our fate of this podcast. Basically, be excited for the future. I will see you guys again. This is Edo Ninja, the host of Storm Connect.
And this is Crunch, your co-host.
Of Storm Connect. We will see you guys again.
Take care.